morning, students. Today we are going to know about consignment accounts. In this consignment account, we will learn about after completing this video lesson, we will learn definition of consignment. How do we define consignment? That we will know by the end of this video lesson. Parties, how many parties we will see in consignment accounts, so that can be known by us. Features, what are the features we have in consignment? Differences between consignment and sale. So what is the difference between consignment and sale? How do we define consignment? How do we define sale? So like that, the differences between these two terms we will know. What are the functions? So the totally how we are differ from consignment to sale, that we will learn. Terminology. Terminology means there will be a separate terminology in consignment account. That terminology, when, where, how we use, for what purpose we are using, that will be known. Next, expenses on consignment. So during the consignment, some expenses will be incurred. That expenses, what are the expenses? Who are expended that expenditure? So which is treated under consignment stock, closing stock? What expenses are to be considered? What expenses are not to be considered? So like that, we will learn all the expenditure point of view. So accounting procedure. Here we just now we discussed there are two parties. One is consignor, another one is consignee. So in the books of consignor, how we follow the accounting procedure. In the consignee books also, how do we follow consignee accounting procedure, that we will learn through this video lesson. And the valuation of unsold stock. Sometimes whatever the consignment stock sent by the consignor, after receiving consignee, some maybe total stock may be sold out, sometimes may not be sold totally. Then unsold stock will be there. Then what is the value of that stock? So whenever we are finding profit or loss on consignment, then we have to calculate what is the valuation of unsold stock, that we have to find out. So that's why this is important to know what is the valuation of unsold stock. At the same time, some problems also we will learn through this video lesson. So these are the learning outcomes. Through this video lesson we will learn. So please watch it again. If you have any doubt, you can rectify by watching again. Otherwise, let me know, I will clarify. Subscribe by subscribing my channel. Okay, so we will continue. So what is first definition of consignment? We will see. Right. So this is consignment accounts. So the theory part. Through this theory part, after knowing theory part, we will go for problem part. So let us know the theory part. Consignment meaning. How do we define consignment? The increasing size of market is making more and more difficult for the manufacturer or wholesaler to come into direct contact with customers living at different far off places in the business world. Sales are made either directly or indirectly. In indirect sales program, a business concern appoints its own salesman, and all sales activities will remain under its own control and supervision. In an indirect method of doing sales, a business concern appoints selling agents on a commission basis. This is called the consignment system. So let us know what is consignment. So generally uh, generally all the customers all the manufacturer or traders interested to do their sales at different places to meet different people's demands and needs. So that's why the people, those who are interested to purchase the goods, the manufacturer also interested to sell the goods to the different areas people to improve their turnover. So for that, one manufacturer cannot sell the goods in different areas, so that's why the stock, whatever the finished goods, whatever the stock he has, that stock is to be sent to different areas for at different peoples. uh, for them the stock will be sent, then that stock is sold by the different areas people. Here the people may be appointed by the owner. So here first we see there are two parties. First person is consignor and the second person is consignee. So who is the consignor? The person who sends goods to be sold on his behalf is called consignor or principal. Consignor or principal. The person, the manufacturer, the trader, the stock who has on his own, who has doing business, that person sends the goods to the different areas. That person known as consignor, who sends goods to be sold. That person known as consignor or principal, or we can say owner. The other person in the other area, the person to whom the goods are sent for sale is known as consignee or agent. So here in consignment process, not only in consignment process, the stock is transferred from one place to another place, the stock who sends, that person known as consignor. The stock who is going to receive to sell the goods, that person is known as consignee. So here this is indirect sale, what we say indirect sales. Here through direct sales means that manufacturer sells the goods directly. Indirectly means through the different areas people, then it will be sold out. So what is the purpose, what is the benefit to the other parties, other areas people, is that the commission will be given to them. So one person is going to send the goods to different areas. The investment is invested by the principal, and earnings and sales done by the different areas people. So investment done by the principal, and whatever the goods are there, that goods are to be sent to the other areas. The other areas people appointed by this principal, the other areas people known as agent. By that, through that agent, all the goods are to be sold out. Then by selling the goods, they may earn something. So whatever it is earned by the agents, that is to be sent to the principal. To that, to the agents, commission will be given. So without investing, just they are taking risk. But there is no investment, but they are doing sales. By doing these sales, they are getting commission. So commission also we will have different types of commissions, so that we will learn in further. So they earn commission. So what is the benefit to the agents? So without investing a single paisa, they are earning commission. They are earning commission. Earning commission may be improved by volume of the stock. Volume of the stock. So that's why they are very much interested to sell the goods. Those who are sent by the principal. So that's why this is the process. So from one area is going from one area, the manufacturer staying at one area. From that, the other areas people to the different areas people, the stock will be sent. That is to be sold out by the different areas people. In this process, we may have a different expenditure. Maybe consignor, maybe consignee expended something, that will be settled in accounting procedure. How we settle in the accounting procedure, that we will see in the accounting procedure. So let us see, this is the process of consignment. So first let us see the definition. If the goods are sent by one person, if the goods are sent by one person, that person known as consignor. That person known as consignor. So though the person who is sending the goods, that person is known as consignor. That person is known as consignor. So if the goods are sent by one person to another person who sells them, that is known as consignee. Consignee. That is the other area people is known as consignee. So what we are discussing here, consignor sending the goods to the consignee. Consignor sending to the goods to the consignee on commission basis. On commission basis, at the risk of the person who sends it, termed as consignment. So the total process, whatever the expenditure is there, whatever the risk is there, whatever the loss is there, whatever the profit is there, whatever the total risk, ownership or some damage, transport expenditure. So like that, whatever the risk is there, whatever the profit is there, the total process, the total risk, total profit, total loss, whatnot, all the things belongs to only consignor. Belongs to only consignor. That consignor investment and send the goods to other person. That other person known as consignee or agent. Consignee or agent. That consignee sell the goods on the commission basis. Later it will be settled. So this is the process. So that's why consignor sends the goods to the consignee. Consignee sell the goods on the commission basis. Then later it will be shown what is the profit, what is the loss on consignment. So that is the process. That is the consignment accounts. Okay. Now in this process we will see there are two parties. One party is the person who's sending the goods, who sends the goods or who sending the goods. The person is consignor. Consignee is the person to whom the goods are sent. So the person who are actually receiving the goods, to sell the goods on the commission basis. That person is known as consignee. So let us take one example. Here Kumar of Vijayawada. So Kumar staying at Vijayawada, sending goods to Prasad of Hyderabad. Prasad staying at Hyderabad, Kumar staying at Vijayawada. So sends goods to Prasad. So here we can say Kumar is defined as consignor. Kumar is defined as consignor. Prasad is defined as consignee. Kumar is termed as consignor and Prasad is termed as consignee. Yes. Why? Because Kumar sending goods Prasad receiving goods. Okay, Vijayawada is the one place, Hyderabad is another place. From one place to another place, the goods are transferred. The goods are transferred. For what purpose? To sell the goods. To sell the goods. So that's why it is known as, what we say, it is known as consignment. Okay, here goods sent on consignment. Goods sent by consignor to consignee are known as goods sent on consignment. So whatever the goods are sending to the consignee, that particular goods are known as goods sent on consignment. Goods sent on consignment. Okay, right. Next we will see consignment outwards. To the consignor, the consignment is consignment outwards. To the consignor, the consignment is consignment outwards. So in consignment process, whatever the stock going outside, that is known as consignment outwards. It is purely for consignor. Okay, right. So here we see the relationship between the two persons. The relationship between the consignor and consignee is principal and agent. The consignor is the owner of the goods, and that ownership he retains even though the goods are actually in the hands of consignee. Okay, so the relationship between consignor and consignee is principal and agent relationship. So whatever the goods are holding by the agent, but actual ownership retains with the owner. Owner means principal or consignee. So when the goods are holding by the consignee, then he is not owner of the that goods, but actual owner is consignor. Consignee would act on the advice and instructions of the consignor from time to time in disposing the goods. Yes. So here by the directions and the instructions of the consignor only, the consignee act, and the goods will be sold. Consignee should not exercise his own discretion under any circumstances. Okay, under any circumstances, consignee need not to take any decision by himself. He has to take advice, he has to take instructions from the consignor. So that's why then only has to take decision. So there is no liberty to take decisions to the consignee. So by taking decisions by the consignor only, consignee has to act. So that is the relationship between these principal and agent, or consignor and consignee. Okay, this is the relationship between these persons. In other words, a consignment is the dispatch of goods by its owner to its agent of the purpose of selling on commission basis. So on commission basis only it will be sent from one place to another place, from one person to another person. Okay, that's it. So now let us see the features. What are the features we have? What are the features we have in consignment? What are the features we have? Right? What are the features? What are the features we have? So the following are the important features of consignment. First, number one, the goods sent on consignment remain the property of the consignor, though goods are in the hands of consignee. Yes, the property of the consignor, the goods of the consignor, whatever the goods send to the consignee on consignment, that is the goods consisted by consignee, that goods owner is consignor. So that goods belongs to consignor. Okay, right. Next one, consignee act on the advice of the consignor. Yes. So without taking any instructions, any advice, consignee don't act as an agent. So agent means whatever the boss is said, whatever the principal is said, that is to be followed by the agent. So that is to be done by the consignee only. Right. Next, consignee is allowed certain fixed percentage of commission. Consignee is allowed certain fixed percentage of commission on sales made by him. So here you see consignee, why consignee works, why agent works. So for a fixed percentage on percentage of commission on sales. For what purpose he is working? Fixed percentage of commission, that is decided by consignor. That is decided by consignor. The unsold stock lying with consignee belongs to consignor. Yes. So whatever the unsold stock is there, that unsold stock belongs to consignor only. Next, the feature and the consignee send account sales to consignor periodically, showing the account particulars of sales, expenses incurred, commission receivable, etc. So here we are observing one new term, that is account sales. So account sales is a one term that is to be discussed further in detail. So here, of course, here we have to discuss a little bit. Account sales means after the completion of sales by the consignee or agent, whatever the goods are sold by him, the detailed information should be sent to the consignor. Okay, what is the unsold stock, what is the sold stock, in that also at what rate we sold, how much stock was sold. So like that, the total details has to send to the consignor by the consignee. That detailed information is known as, that detail consisting the detailed information statement is known as account sales. Okay, in the same way we have one more pro forma invoice that we discuss later. Okay, so whatever the information we have after selling the goods, that total information should be sent to the principal or consignor. Why we have to send the information? Because that goods owner, proprietor is consignor. So that's why whatever the goods are sold by the consignee, the detailed information should be sent to principal. Okay, next, when del credit commission is allowed to consignee, he has to bear the loss of any due to bad debts. So here again we have one more terminology, that is del credit commission. Del credit commission. So in further we will discuss. Of course, it is one of the types of commission, del credit commission. So when credit sales are done by the consignee, then he is eligible to take a del credit commission. So that is discussed in detail in further. Next, the profit or loss on consignment belongs to consignor. Yes. So whatever the profit, whatever the loss is got on consignment, that totally belongs to consignor. So sometimes on consignment may get profit, sometimes may get loss. So whatever it is, if it is profit or loss on consignment, the totally belongs to consignor only. Okay. Next, the relationship between consignor and consignee is that principal and agent relationship, debtor and creditor relationship. So he has to give, he has to take. Okay, that is the relationship between these two persons. Consignor and consignee relationship is principal and agentship. Principal and agentship. Whatever the information, whatever the instructions as given by consignor, the same is to be followed by consignee. The same is followed by consignee. The same is to be acted by the consignee. So principal instructions only, the consignee has to act. Okay, now we see the differences. So I think you got some idea about features. So goods must be belongs to consignor. Whatever the instructions are to be done by only consignor. So commission should be given to consignee. That may be fixed, that may be sometimes may be changed. So in commission also we have various types that we will discuss later. So whatever the unsold stock is there, that unsold stock belongs to consignor. So the detailed information should be sent to consignor. Sometimes delicate commission may be given, so that is to be given by consignor. So whatever the profit, whatever the loss is there, that is to be paid by consignor. So the relationship between consignor and consignee is principal and agent relationship. Okay, so these are the features what we say. So stock must be transferred one place to another place, one person to another person. It should be sold out. So let us know the differences between consignment and sale. So sometimes when we see consignment and sale looking the same, consignment and sale looking the same, but there will be some difference. There is some difference. So here also sales also from one person to another person will be transferred. In consignment also one person to one person. So something is differ from sale and consignment. So let us see what are the differences between these two. So one by one we will see. So first let us see consignment. So already we discussed the parties involved in consignment are consignor and consignee. There are two parties already we discussed. So consignor and consignee, the parties name in the consignment. These are the two parties are involved in consignment process. So whenever we see sales, here also there are two parties. Here also we will see two parties. The parties are seller and purchaser. Seller and purchaser. Maybe seller and buyer. Seller and buyer. There are two parties, purchaser and seller. So here consignor and consignee. Here seller and purchaser. So under selling process there are two parties, that is seller and purchaser. Under consignment process there are two parties, one is consignor, another one is consignee, right? So let us see one more. So in the both the conditions we have two parties, consignor and consignee, seller and purchaser. So next we will see the relationship between the consignor and consignee is that of principal and agent. Here under consignment process, principal and agent relationship is there. Under consignment process, principal and agent relationship is there. Under sale, the relationship between seller and purchaser is creditor and debtor. So these are the terms. These are the relationship between two parties. Under consignment is principal and agent. Under sales, creditor and debtor. Okay. Next, though the goods are consigned to the agent, the ownership remains with the consignor. Yes. So whatever the goods are sent to the consignor, ultimately the ownership of goods is consignor. So whenever we see when the goods are sold, the ownership on the goods passes from the hands of the seller to the buyer. So after the transaction of sale, the ownership also is transferred. So here the ownership is not transferred. The ownership remains with the consignor. So the goods are transferred, but ownership is not transferred. Ownership is with the consignor. Here ownership also transferred whenever sales is done. Whenever consignment is there, then only ownership is not transferred, goods only transferred. Here goods and ownership are transferred. Okay. Next, consignee may return the goods to to the consignor at any time. So consignor is the owner, so that's why from consignee or agent at any time the goods may be returned. The goods may be returned by the consignee. In the sale process, buyer cannot return the goods unless there is an agreement to the effect. Yes, whenever there is an agreement, then only buyer or purchaser can return the goods to the seller. In case of consignment, at any time, there is need not there is no agreement. There is no process to agreement. Whenever time comes, the consignee may return the goods to the consignor. Okay. Next, the chief consideration of the consignment is commission. So here the consideration is under consignment processes is commission. Commission is the chief consideration. So under sales, profit is the chief consideration. So without taking profit, there is no sales. Without taking commission, there is no consignment. So under consignment we have commission, under sale we have profit, right? Next, any loss or damage for the goods in the consignment is to be borne by the consignor. So whatever the loss, whatever the risk is there that arises during the consignment process, that is to be bared by consignor. So after sale, if there is any loss or damage to the goods, it is to be borne by the buyer. So after completion of sales, before completion of sales, that is the responsibility of the seller himself. After the process completion of sale, any loss, any damage is there, the total is to be bared by buyer, right? Next, all expenses incurred by the consignee and consignment are recovered from the consignee. So yes, we discussed whatever the expenditure is there, whatever the expenses is there during consignment process, right from starting to ending, from one place to another place. It may be go down, it may be transportation, it may be inwards, outwards, whatever it is, imports, exports, whatever it is, the total process of consignment, whatever the expenditure is done by the consignor, by the consignee. So the total expenditure is to be bared by consignor only, right? Whenever you see sales, after the sales, the buyer has to bear all expenses. So in selling process, whatever the expenditure is there, the total expenditure are to be bared by buyer. Why? Because he is going to buy the goods, so that's why he has to bear. Right? Next, periodically consignee sends accounts sales to the consignor, showing the details of sales, expenses incurred by him, etc. Consignee sends account sales to the consignor, showing the details of sales. So periodically means here whatever the sales are done by the consignee, that should be the detailed information should be sent to the consignor in detail. So that is to be done by the consignee. So here there is no statement after the process of completion of sales. There is no statement is prepared, right? Next, sometimes consignor dispatches goods to the consignee at pro forma invoice price. So this is also one more new term, pro forma invoice. This pro forma invoice is the new term. This is also is to be discussed later. So pro forma invoice is nothing but it is a statement which is sent by the consignor to the consignee. Some detailed information is given to the consignee. What it has to send So here seller of the goods send ordinary invoice to the buyer. So just information, normal information is given to the buyer because the receipt has to give. So for that, ordinary invoice is to be given to the buyer. Okay. Usually, consignor sends goods to the consignee. The question of placing order by consignee with consignor does not arise. The question of placing order by consignee with consignor does not arise. Okay, here consignor sends goods to the consignee. The question of placing order by consignee with consignor does not arise. Yes. Here, whatever the goods are to be sent to the consignee, the question of placing order, there is no place of order because a consignee is not place any order to the consignor. These goods are to be sold, these goods are not to be sold. So like that, there is no order for there is no order for goods. But here seller sends goods to the buyer only when he receives the order from him. So whenever buyer is interested to purchase the goods, then only he will send the goods to the buyer. Okay. Here there is no interest of the consignor. Consignor is going to send the goods, consignee has to sell the goods. So these are the terms or differences between consignment and the sale. I think now you got the detailed differences between consignment and consignee. So you are very normal information or in-depth knowledge is given to you. So the difference is consignment and sale. What is the difference between these two? Then only you can get a clear idea about this idea. Okay. Next, important terms. What are the important terms are to be involved in consignment process? Here, account sales. Account sales is a term. Which is used in consignment process. What it is? Let us see what it is. It is a periodical statement rendered by the consignee to the consignor. So whatever the statement is prepared by the consignee, to send to the consignor. Okay, whatever the statement is prepared by the consignee to send to the consignor, containing the details, gross sale proceeds, expenses incurred by the consignee in receiving and selling the goods, consignee commission, advance remittance, balance due by the commission. So if any other information is needed, that information also included here. So sale proceeds. So at what price the goods are sold out by the consignee? At what price it is sold by the consignee? That detailed information should be given to the consignor. Next, expenses. Expenses may be incurred by consignee, but the expenses incurred by the consignor don't know about the consignee don't know about the consignor's expenses. He knows only himself expenses. So that's why during the transportation, during the selling process, only expenses may be done by the consignee regarding to that information. And consignee commission also is given to consignee. So whatever the commission, for what commission is eligible, how much commission is eligible, how much amount has to take. So like that, all the detailed information about commission. And advance remittance. Sometimes advance taken by the consignee, or advance is sent to the consignor. Advance sent to the consignor. So like that, all the detailed information. And again, the settlement of the consignment. Sometimes due balance is to be paid through check, through DD. So like that, whatever it is. So the balance amount is to be paid to the consignor. So that's why that details also to be sent. It is a duty to the consignee to verify the particulars noted in account sales once or twice before sending the same to the consignor after making the signature on it. Only after the receipt of the account sales, the consignor records the entries in the books. The following is the specimen of account sales with imaginary figures. Right? So let us see how account sales is representing the details. So you see, who is preparing account sales? Account sales is prepared by consignee to send to the consignor the detailed information, whatever the information. In the information, how many sales he has done, how many expenses he has done, how much commission he has to be taken, how much amount already paid, how much amount is due. So like that, all the information is to be sent to consignor. So the total detailed information will be represented by account sales. Account sales is a statement. So let us see the pro forma account sales. You see, you are observing account sales pro forma. Here you see account sales of 100 TV sets received by Mensers Naresh and Company on Mumbai and sold on account and a risk of Menon and the Company of Nagpur. Here there are two parties. One is account sales of 100 TV sets received by Mensers and Naresh and the Company of Mumbai. So Naresh and the Company, Mensers Naresh and the Company staying at Mumbai is the person. The person is the company, that is consignor, and sold on account and risk of Menon and account sales. Okay, he is a consignor. Okay, here so sale proceeds of 40 TVs. Total 100 TVs are there. In that, 40 TVs are sold at 3,000. That is 1,20,000. And 60 TVs are sold at 3,200. That is 1,92,000. 1,92,000. Totally 3,12,000. From that, less charges. What are the charges is there? So carriage, transportation, warehouse rent, fire insurance, other charges. So like this we have information. These are the expenditure are expended by consignee. So this is the expenditure. This expenditure is to be deducted from the gross sales. Then 2,500 is deducted. Then we get this amount, 3,09,500. From that, commission is to be deducted. So 10% commission is eligible on total sales. So 3,12,000 is the sales. 3,12,000 is the sales. On 10% is 31,200. 31,200. So that is to be deducted. Then 2,78,300 is the balance. Then advance remitted. Already advance remitted is 50,000. Now remaining balance is 2,28,300 is the balance is to be enclosed. So like this is what we are observing. This is account sales. Account sales is prepared by consignee. It is sent to consignor. So like that, this is account sales. So you are observing. So in the next video lesson we will continue. So in the next video lesson the remaining topics are to be completed. So it is continued. consignment consignment accounts. So you see, through this video lesson we are learning the definition. There are parties, how many parties are there, the differences between sales and consignment, so the special terminology. So like that we have learned through this video lesson. You watch this video lesson again and again, then you will get clear idea about consignment theory part. So whenever theory part is clearly known, then it will be easy to do problems in consignment. So in the next video lesson we will